Welcome back to another episode of the Trainer Gallery podcast. Today we have Starman. James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Definitely tired, but we're living.
That's
It's good to have you
awesome.
on, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
dude.
I appreciate you having me on. You guys have had like really cool guests, and then you guys have had very good conversations yourself. So I appreciate you having me on.
Thank
Of
you.
course.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Oh, did we just we sat up at the same time? Did you see
Yeah, we had to get our little adjustment in.
that? we've been spending
We're
too much time
synced
together
up.
lately. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
Hell
you've
yeah.
been vending a lot recently and doing like vendor POV. What kind of got you into vending and doing the POV and just all that kind of content?
So I started in January of last year. I did it one time just to try it out, and there was a channel before vendor point of views were huge. And last time I was on a podcast, I couldn't think of their name, but they go by, I believe it's Entropy PR, um, Entropy DR actually on Instagram. They were doing POVs before anyone, and they aren't like huge deals or anything, but it's a couple and they seem really cool. And when I was checking them out, I was like, I could probably sell some cards. And at the time too, I was just learning how to make content and like trying to figure out a series that I could do long term. So I figured that I could start a $10,000 challenge series where I tried to
Yes.
sell $10,000 worth of cards. Not profit. It wasn't like super tracked or anything, but I was like, oh, I could do that. I deal with cards enough. And right after
Yeah.
deciding to do that, my son was like, we found out that he was expecting, that we were expecting him. And I decided to take a break from vending so that I could focus putting my money towards savings since we had to have a kid.
Yeah.
You can't really, only one of us could work. And like, I was the only one who was getting family leave at the time. So I was just trying to be smart. And to be honest, if I could do it over, I probably would have kept vending to save more money, but I didn't really understand it. Um, and then as we were expecting my son, we were looking at our personal finances, my wife and I was like, I really should be making some extra money to clear up some debt because I would eventually like to get into a bigger house. Because right now we live in a co-op. It's basically like a 2 bedroom apartment. And I was like, we could definitely use more space. We will need it in the future. Let's take this serious. And instead of getting a second job, I decided to just go full on vending for my
That's
side gig.
awesome.
Yeah.
And
So since then, it's been a grind.
as a little precursor, the $10,000 was clearing up college debt.
So the $10,000 challenge was literally just to do a series on YouTube. It was straight up
Okay.
content. I did not care about the money. Like the money itself didn't really matter. And then once I put it into practice and I vended one time, and I was like, okay, I'm naturally pretty good at talking to people, and I think that if I can learn the numbers behind it, I could have enough margin to make a bit of extra income and apply it to that. And then I also, if I didn't do that and I got a second job, I wouldn't be able to continue to do content. And I really enjoy
Mhm.
doing content. So it was just a win win on both ends.
I
That's
actually
awesome.
watched that video today when I was at work. I was like doing a little bit of research, and that video is really good. That was the very first one where you're explaining what you're going to do, and then you take like 4,000 cards, you take it to the store, and they're like EXs and Vs, and then they give you credit. I thought that was the smartest thing I've seen in a long time because a lot of us have these bulk EXV cards, and they're just sitting around, and you take them in, you get store credit, you buy some really nice cards that you like that you could flip. It was kind of what I got out of it. Some for your personal collection, and then some sealed product. And I was like, man, that is probably the way to go. And do you still do that kind of thing?
So actually, what I found out, funny enough, again, so starting it, I really just wanted to make content, and doing so, I really was learning the business. And if I could go back, I would have actually kept all those cards and sold them myself.
Mhm.
But not knowing how like inventory actually worked, I was taking my smaller cards and thinking, oh, bigger cards will sell better. So when you're trading them in, you're trading at say 65 to 70% if it's a local card store because they just work at lower margins.
Yep.
Then you're getting into bigger cards, which is nice, but at the same time, a lot of those cards, even if they sell for like $1.50 or so, I sell them myself for like $2 at a show. So
Mhm.
I'm now selling them for say 80 cents when I could be getting $2 for it. And I think that it was cool that I was able to learn it in front of people and then they could see it too. And it isn't a bad
Yeah.
idea if you don't want to sell full time. But I just now would have changed it. But I will say I still do go through my inventory from time to time and say I have a card that's been sitting for 6 months. I will see if it's appreciated in value and I'll offload it at 80% all day to another vendor and try to get into new cards. So I definitely took some of those aspects, but I wouldn't have done it with
Sweet.
all my bulk like that.
That's awesome too, because like it's $2 and it doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up quick, especially when you're vending and being able to buy at a percent at shows and then just keep rolling that into your inventory.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, and this isn't like always the best thing, but a lot of people are paying for ease of access to cards and being able to see it. So a regular V card that might be worth 35 cents plus shipping online, which costs about $1, is willing to pay the extra 70 cents for that $2 card. Where instead of going through the hassle of posting everything on the TCG player, packaging everything up,
Mhm.
making sure it ships, hoping that no one does a chargeback, I could just have it available at the show for $2. And again, if it's a 30, say, typically it's about an 80 cent to $1.50 card. I get those for about 70% their value. So I have a nice margin. Like I'm doubling my money. But they are slower to move, so there's like a fine line that you want to keep with your inventory. But it is like a good place to have cards, like have good stock.
That makes sense because, sorry, a lot of the times I don't like to wait on TCG Player to ship me my cards when I order them.
Mhm.
So, like, I don't mind going to the card shows and then the card shops and finding one that's, like you said, a dollar or so more than what I would pay on TCG because I get to walk out with it too.
Yeah, and instead of having to pay for the shipping, like I'm basically saying, instead of the envelope that's going to be in there, it's just right in
Yeah.
front of your face. And I say $2, but that's if I sell a single card. If you're picking up 5 cards, I'm liking knocking off $1 or $2 per however many cards you get. So there's also good bulk deals that you can get out there, and I find it easier to do with small errand cards.
How often are you going to shows?
So I vend typically monthly, except the latter half of this year, I think I have 8 shows in the last 4 months.
Nice.
Oh,
It
wow.
just happens to be scheduling wise that a lot of them stacked up. And the show that I typically do has gotten so popular that the
Yeah.
person who runs it, she like needed to make more shows basically. And she's also expanded outside of our normal area. So she's located on Long Island, and that's where her show had started. And now we go to upstate New York and close to New Jersey for different shows. And the last time we went upstate, I actually had like my best selling show of all time.
That's awesome. You got to bring them way upstate for
I
me. I got to see you guys more.
I know that they've done Saratoga, but I'm not taking
Okay.
that trip.
Yeah. Because I've vended twice with that show with Shoal, who we hope to have on soon.
Yeah, she's cool. You definitely
Yes.
should.
I've been talking to her, trying to set that up, and just because I'm going abroad to do study abroad, it's been a pain in the ass, but trying to figure all of that out. But like overall, because I only experienced 2 shows, and the culture was amazing. Is it like that for every show, where like everyone just super cool, trying to help you, especially like being new to vending?
So, I think it does depend on the person, and it also depends. There's different ways of people going about how they sell as well. Some I don't like, some I do like, and I usually just keep my opinion to myself and I don't speak up. But
Yeah.
I've been at shows where typically the Long Island shows, those people are very nice. I've met plenty of friends there. I go to the shows alone. I like don't have a partner, so I'll go for the 2 hours beforehand that you get to set up, and I don't need long to set up, and I'll just go hang out with the people that I know. The last show I went to, I was playing Mario Kart before. It was awesome.
That's sweet.
Yeah, no, it was sick. And I did go to a show in Jersey. I won't say the name of the show, but they were a fine show, but it was a bit slower. And I know that like I tried to make a deal with a couple of vendors there, and they were selling at like what market prices for cards that are listed and not what is sold. And like they weren't willing to budge. And
It's weird.
there's like different things like that where I found a lot at that show and I found some at the Long Island show. But for the most part, if you just talk to enough people, I'd say like you get a good 85% of the people that are good, 15% that are either like greedy or they don't like to follow the trend of markets of cards because if they bought too high, which I understand, but there's been plenty of times where I actually have a card right now, or I just sold it. I sold it for $65. It was a Zorua IR in a PSA 10. When I bought it, it was worth 145, and I paid around market for it. And I just took the L. But most people will be like, "Oh, well, I bought it high, so it's going to stay at the sticker." And I think that's just bad practice. And you'll find some people out there, and typically those are the type of people that don't have a personality that I vibe with. So it just kind of ends up being that way.
Yeah, that's interesting. Also, listing a card or trying to sell a card at a show for like the listing price rather than the sold on like eBay, because the sold is usually a lot lower and it
Mhm.
includes like the fees and shipping. So like I guess if you're at a show you could kind of knock off a little bit of a price because you're not paying the fees as the vendor.
Yeah, and so I get that there are some cards that you have to do that for. Like low pop
Yeah.
cards, you kind of just
Yes.
I had a card, it was a magic card. There were only 4 graded in the world, or like
Wow.
it had a 4 pop report. And I was like, there's one listed for 85, and like I don't expect 85, but like that's the only thing I know what to go by, and I don't do magic cards. So
Yeah.
I ended up like trading it for a $60 card, and I was like, I'm happy with that because
Yeah.
like how do you get a market on that? But yeah, I saw there was a Flareon EX, an older one. It was a PSA 8, and they had it for like they had it on display for the highest listed price and not what the median average of sales were. And I was like,
Ooh.
I would never do that. I get why you have that number there because someone's going to see that and be like, yeah, that's what it is on eBay. But like, I think it's a little bit deceitful, and I end up not really vibing with those people.
Fair
Well,
enough.
I was gonna say that's good that there's people like you at these shows then that people can deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I try to be as fair as possible, and most people will come to me. I actually have one video where I titled it that I had the best priced Van Gogh Pikachu because I did. Someone was like, I literally walked to every table and you have the best price one. And I was like, thanks. I'm literally just at the median sales. Like, I don't care to go any higher than that.
love
And then
that
it's the
chart.
same way when I buy cards. Like, if I buy cards, it's what the median sales are. I don't buy at, say, a card sells for 380, 380, 450, and like 320. I'm not going to buy at the 320 like some people do, and I'm definitely not going to buy at the 450. So if you feel it's fair at that middle price, like that's how I like to do deals.
Dude, that's
Now,
super fair, and I love that.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
are you mostly buying just inventory to cycle in and out, or are you kind of picking up some PC items here and there?
I haven't picked up PC in a bit. I was kind of collecting the Shining cards, and I think I've picked up all of the cheap ones. And I have
Okay.
the Shining Hoot Hoot. I got that at Card Party
Nice.
actually last year. And I feel like that's the next thing that I really want to pick up. And right now, I kind of like did a business hack that a lot of people do is I took out a 0% interest credit card, racked it all the way up, and I have 4 months to pay it off. I just dropped $1,000 to pay part of it off yesterday, and now like
Nice.
I can't really justify buying PC when I have to pay
Yeah.
that off before the interest hits. But I think once I get that settled, I might like start to pick up some little things again.
Sweet.
Is that a big part? Because we know somebody else that has done that, like with a business card. Is that like a big part of getting started in like vending?
So I wouldn't say that everybody does it. I think that there are
Yeah.
people that are very scared of credit as well.
Yeah.
But the way that I look at it is that I make typically, if you look at my numbers, 15% of my overall Pokemon net worth. So say I have $15,000 worth of cards, I make about $2,000 a month. So if I can turn that 15,000 into 20,000 because I have a $5,000 credit with 0% interest, why would I not increase my 15% and add on to that? And then as long as you can pay it off before the interest hits, which is the big thing with credit cards that people get scared of and people have trouble with, like say the Pokemon market crashed tomorrow, I got to worry about that bill. I don't see that happening, so I felt relatively safe doing so. But right now, I think my inventory is sitting at 12,000, and I have like 5,000 in credit, or credit card debt. So if I had to sell it all off tomorrow, I could, but I have 4 months to pay it off, so I'm just doing it in increments. So as long as you do it safely, I think it's a good way to do it, but not everyone does.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I worry a lot about like getting into credit card debt, especially for like this hobby. And I think that's because it's something we've considered before as well, is to do that. And I think that number that you said, that $4,000 limit on that is actually very reasonable and smart. That's a low number, you know what I mean? Like it's a very manageable thing.
Yeah, I think that if I had $4,000 in credit card debt and all my Pokemon cards were worth 4,000, I'd probably be a bit worried. But I think that having that buffer and having it be less than 50% of your inventory, I think it's relatively safe. I
Yeah.
will say that part of me getting out of debt in my personal life was a good amount of credit card debt. And my wife and I chose to consolidate our cards together and just get a personal loan. And now we've been paying that off. We've actually paid off just we just actually reached the halfway point of it, which is awesome because it's a large bill because we were stupid. But
I feel
the
that.
thing with stuff like that is that you have to have the right behavior changes before doing that if you weren't so good with
Yeah.
credit cards beforehand. And you just have to have the mindset of, if I have a credit card, because I actually use my credit cards now because they all stay at zero balances by the time the statements due. So as long as you know that you're going to pay it off and you have the money in your account, like use it and get those reward points. But if you can't safely do that, then yes, just stay away from it. I wouldn't suggest it.
Real quick, babe, your mic sounds like shit. You're gonna need to change over to your AirPods.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Is that better?
That is better.
Yes.
Okay. I hope that's static because I was hearing that static really bad. Were you guys hearing
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand
God,
what you
I
said.
hope that
though,
didn't.
so.
Yeah. Yeah, gonna get it destroyed in the comments.
Yeah, I was trying a new setup with this mic on here, and it is clearly not working.
On the paint can.
On the paint can.
Well,
So
yes.
with the vending, do you get like a good feel of where the market is at and where it's going? I guess.
No. I
Okay.
think that you do need to do some research outside of it. I will say that I've gotten a good hand of knowing what cards are going to sell and what aren't. For the most
Okay.
part, like I know popular Pokemon, but I'm not afraid to pick up like any Pokemon or any Pokemon card as long as it's in my budget. And I try to allocate like right now I have 2 high-end slabs. So I have Charizard EX SIR from 151 and a 10.
Nice.
So that's like just over $1,000. And I have the Gengar VMAX Alt Art PSA 10, which is about
Nice.
$1,700, more than that. It's like 17, 18. And those are the only big cards that I carry. Then I have about 10 to 12 like higher end singles that are like in the couple $100 range. And then the rest are like mid to low end singles. So I think that I like to keep a fair balance and I know the market enough to do so. But I wouldn't say that I could pick up on trends. You have to do a little bit of extra research on that.
I feel like
Interesting
so
on that.
what about if you're like walking around and looking at like do you I guess do you pick up on like I don't know how to word it, but like I feel like when I was at the shows like earlier in the spring, like a lot of cards that I wouldn't see at prior shows, they were everywhere. Like those EX full arts, like everybody had the Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre PSA
I had
10.
them.
I had those too. I sadly sold them. I wish I held those. Those are so cool. I miss them.
I will say that there are people out there that study the market a lot, and they're also very in tune with what games are coming out. So, like recently, you've seen tag teams and megas go up a lot. It's because megas are coming back, and tag teams just happen to be popular, where the market didn't really have as much of a demand for them. So, there was the card, the Deoxy card, that was like the alt art promo. That was going for $30, $35 for years, and it has recently shot up to like 80. And it might even be more now by the time we're making this. I don't even know. It's crazy, and there are people that tend to pick up the market. Like as soon as that card raised about $5, I noticed that a lot more tag teams started to move because they were like, okay, trend, let's start buying them so we have them available for when they are at their full value. But yeah, I think that takes being in the know. And in terms of having like cards like that on hand, you'll see a bunch of them at the shows. I think that it's the same thing. People just pick up on trends, try to pick one up on eBay and hope that the value goes up or someone happens to be selling it online. I happen to know someone who had the Groudon and Kyogre cards. I got them in a PSA 6. So I had bought one from him because I thought his price was fair, but I didn't think the other one was. And then when I posted it on Instagram, another friend was like, oh, I have the Groudon side of it. Would you want it in a 6? And then me and him made a fair deal. So like I just happened to fall into place with it. But there are people that definitely study and know like what should sell.
It's been I've been paying attention recently to like specific singles, and watching certain cards trend is actually pretty crazy to me, to see that they just go on this like streak for, I don't know, like a week or two, and then just gone.
Hmm. It's also New Card Hype does that. Like the McDonald's promos were going for like
Oh,
20 $25, and now they've
Mhm.
dropped.
yeah.
Um, there's a cool channel, I believe he goes by Pokebeard. He likes to look at the market, and if you watch his videos, he'll just like go through what's trending, and you can see some wild stuff on there, and you can see all the trend, the graph charts and stuff that they have for the price charting.
Yeah.
And it is very interesting. I definitely agree, but I don't care to spend a lot of time on that. I kind of just my philosophy is flip. I don't hold anything
Yeah.
on purpose.
Yeah.
If like so that Charizard EX SIR, I have had it since it was worth $535. Not by any
Yeah.
reason, it just hasn't sold. Um, so now it's naturally gone up in value, but I've had things go up and down. I just want money to move so that I can pay off the things that I want to, pay myself out, buy new cards, and just have it cycle. Eventually, once I'm debt free and I'm doing this more for fun, then maybe I'll watch stuff and like try to strategize. But for now, it's just move stuff as quick as I can.
And so with
Yeah.
all the vending that you're doing all the time, do you get to put anything into the personal collection?
I was saying before that I haven't recently, but I
Yeah.
did pick up like a lot of like the lower end shining cards. So I have those, but I haven't picked up anything since then.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do remember that now.
Pay attention, babe.
It was that static was killing me for a second.
That was your
Oh.
brainwaves messing with the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you do any selling outside of vending, like online?
Yes. So I will post claim sales, but I don't do them as like people typically would. A lot of
Mhm.
people will put a price to every single card, post it on their story and or on their page, and they'll just let people claim it as they go. I try to make it feel as much like you're at a card show as possible because I think that's more fun, and it gets a lot of traction on Twitter. I just posted this on my Instagram story the other day. A typical Twitter post that I make will get about 2 to 500 views, just depending on what I'm talking about. When I did my last sale, it had 33,000 impressions.
Whoa.
Um,
Ooh.
yeah, it's crazy. You
So
learn like the right people to tag, and then what I do is I start a thread. So you can put 4 pictures in a thread. I'll literally just take pictures of everything I have that I want to sell, which is everything I have, and 4 pictures for each. Reply, 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 and I just tell people what you're interested. DM me or reply, and I'll give you pictures. And there's just enough natural interaction that post of mine I'll post on like a Monday or Tuesday. I'll be making sales until the week after, with
Wow.
people just going back and forth looking for stuff. And on Instagram, I do the same thing, but I just post it across my story, and people will just swipe up and tell me what they're interested in, and I'll get back to them as I can. And it avoids the fees of eBay, avoids the fees
Yeah.
of TCG Player. Um, the only hassle that I find with it, which is what I stayed away from a little bit, but I started doing more online sales because I noticed that things weren't moving quickly enough for my liking. So I had to just start doing more sales. Um, People who want singles want a picture of the front and back of everything so that they can try and grade it
yeah.
themselves, which is
Yeah.
understandable, but it just takes a lot of time to do.
Yeah.
So that's like the one thing that I don't like about it, which is why sometimes those sales last until the week after, because I'm just like, I have so many people to get back to, like I need time. And I only have so much time between work, family, and doing this.
Right.
But it is like that, in my opinion, is the best way to sell because of avoiding fees. But then it's just a matter of having a place to have an audience. So on Twitter, I don't really have an audience per se. I have a good amount of followers, but when I do those sales, it just gets so much natural traction that people find me, and I get follows all the time from those interactions all the time from those, and it's awesome.
Dude, I love the claim sales. Like finding like a new page that's just ripping crazy claim sales is like my favorite thing. Like I don't know if you know Parker from CardLink. I think he was vending in Long Island or on Long Island.
I
Sorry.
know CardLink. It is what it is. I say on. I know CardLink, but I don't know them too well. I only heard of them recently.
Okay. Yeah, so they started CardLink, but before that, Parker would just post hundreds of cards, and I'd just be swiping through, and I would actually like wait till he would like start his drop, and I'd just swipe, be like claim, 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 and I've got
Mm.
so many great cards. Like I got the Garatina V alt art from him,
Oh,
graded
nice.
that one, it hit a 10. Like
Nice.
It is super fun. Like I gotta get back into that because that's kind of addicting. Just going through those claim sales.
No, they're fun, and like you never know what anyone picked up because there's
Right.
been times where I've just picked up cards in my local area that you may never have seen. Like there's plenty of times where I'm looking through cards and I'm like, I I started getting back into the hobby in 2020, so there's a good chunk that I missed after not being in it since I was a kid. So like just
Yeah.
like jungle, like all those kinds of sets. So like I see stuff and I'm like, this is cool. I want to keep it. I've like thrown like a card or two to the side, but it's normally like cheap ones. But I do think that the claim sales are super cool. They're definitely underrated.
Oh, for sure.
So it's social media is making things so much easier to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely. And I've noticed too, like just through like posting stuff, people will come up to me at shows now, and I get recognized probably 10 to 15 times a show. And like I
Wow.
don't believe that I have a big channel across any platform. And more recently, I hired an editor, so he started working with me last month. And within that first month, at the last show I was at, I was trying to offload that magic card actually that we were talking about earlier. And he said to me, he's like, "Oh, I know you. You make TikToks." And I hadn't posted a TikTok since I started working with that editor. So like it was
Oh,
working.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
and I
so
was like, this
cool.
is so cool. And
That's
like
really
he
cool
just
to see
like
that
we just
pay
had a
off.
nice conversation. Like typically people will buy cards from me because they recognize me. Like not that again, it's not like you're meeting a celebrity, but at the same time, it's like, oh, they look trustworthy because I've seen them on the internet
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
deals and whatnot. So I do find it to be a very powerful tool.
So,
Interesting.
somewhat recently, you had a long form vending video go absolutely nuts with like
Mhm.
150,000 views. How did
That's
that feel to
insane.
get a reaction like that from the internet? And also, um, what went what went into making that video that was different from what you usually do?
So I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really cool because you're posting content. I started making content in around the same time, 2020. It took me like a couple months of making some random videos to start focusing on Pokemon collecting because I just
Mhm.
thought it was interesting. And then of course,
Okay.
the week after I had started, Logan Paul had got into it, and that was like that first boom that
Yeah.
everyone saw.
Yeah.
And then I felt like I was a poser, but at the same time, I was like, I'm gonna do it because I actually like it.
Yeah.
Um, so to go that long without a video like really popping off, and then that one do so well, after meticulously planning it compared to most of my other videos, I was really happy. I would say that 95% of the people that recognize me now at shows are people that know me from that video or from that video forward.
That's so cool.
That
Yeah,
is
so
cool.
the weekend that I posted that, it was actually the show that you were at, that you were vending at,
Yes.
the May
Yeah.
show. So it was sitting at probably 20 to 30K views at the time. And that's when it started that like 10 people, 15 people came up to me in each day and were like, I know you, like I just saw your video and like I really liked it. Um, so it was awesome. Um, what went into it is there is somebody in the video game reseller space. He has a company called Quick Flips now. He has some controversy behind the way he sells. He kind of just like upcharged and cornered the market on Amazon and charges more than
Oh.
some video games should be worth. So I don't really love that.
Yeah.
I do think he makes very entertaining videos, and he made one looking at the behind the scenes of one of the first video game shows that his friend had ran, and it was a huge show. And I thought that the interview style and looking at the behind the scenes of a couple of vendors, the way that he put it together was really cool. And I was like, I just need some help, and then I can do that. So my wife's cousin is a videographer and editor by trade. She
Oh,
works
that's
with a lot of
sweet.
like high state realtors, and I've had her help me with a video before, two videos actually. So my second most popular video was how to start a Pokemon card collection. She helped me with that one,
Gotta
and
hire her.
well, she's expensive and she's worth it. But
Yeah.
so I had told her about the idea of doing that for the show, and I remember giving it to her in January or February, and I was like, I think I would really like to do this if you'd be willing to help me. And she was like, I can't until April. So that's when we put it together. But that's one of the few videos that like I really scripted out line for line. Like I really like vendor point of view videos because it's just interaction with people. But I like scripted out everything. And I think that she enjoyed working with that because a lot of her clients are in the realty space where they don't know content. They just know, hey, I want to go viral. Like, TikTok, help me.
Yeah.
So giving her like the piece by piece of how it should be shot, the questions that she should ask, because that was actually pulled from followers. So I found that to be interesting too. Is like I picked out the best ones
Yeah.
that I think would go well with the video, and then her just quality is so good that as long as I was able to get the title thumbnail right, I knew that the video would like speak volumes for itself.
That's so
Yeah,
What
that's
is
awesome.
cool.
what is
Thank
your
you.
process for like coming up with your titles and thumbnails?
I don't have one, to be honest. All my vendor point of view videos look the same thumbnail wise, and it's just because I have no extra help, like I was saying earlier. So I have just my stationary camera, and I take the best screenshot that I can get, usually shaking hand or like shaking hands with someone, or me and someone talking, and I put whatever big value card got sold in the video in the background, and for the title, I just try to use whatever buzzwords I find are going on in the Pokemon community.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work, but I went from being a collector on YouTube and getting
Mhm.
1 to 300 views a video to being a vendor point of view person and getting say 800 to 2000. So it was a nice big jump, and I think what I'm doing is like working, but I wouldn't say that like I've broken through the space and like really know what I'm talking about with that stuff.
That's cool. Do you, so being a vendor, right? And you set up those tables, and we always see these videos where people are snatching cards off tables. Do you
Hmm.
think you have a lot, it's a lot more safe for you at these shows when you have the camera set up and people know you're recording, or do you still run into people who are like trying to sneak cards off your table?
So I personally haven't. At that show in Jersey, actually, a vendor that was 2 tables over from me asked if I had caught any footage of someone potentially stealing from him. And
Ooh.
unfortunate for me because I spent like 30 minutes getting the video footage onto my phone, went to go present him with it, and he goes, "Oh yeah, the guy never stole it. He came back and it
Oh,
didn't happen." And I was
Oh
like,
my god.
"You just wasted so much of my battery and space." And
yeah.
I keep my cool. I don't say anything. I was like, no problem, is what it is. But no one, it's a kind of a weird thing because no one really steals from me, but I'm at a single table, a single 6 foot table, and I always try to make friends with the people next to me because, like I said, I go in by myself. So if I got to use the bathroom, they're my lifeline. So
Mm,
I typically have people kind of like looking out for me as I'm looking out for them. It's the same. It's
yeah.
mutual. Um, but there are times too where like people are looking at cards and they don't even notice the camera. And like I'll be like, "Oh, can I show the camera?" And they're literally standing right next to it and they go, "Oh," like surprised by it as if it's a ghost. So it's kind of like a weird thing that I feel like I'm just lucky that I haven't gotten hit, but I do think that
Yeah.
some people who are actually actively looking to steal probably do respect it, and I just don't notice the effects because they're scouting it out like however they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think the vending thing, it seems super fun, but I'm kind of a space cadet sometimes, right? So like I think I'd be standing there and I'd space out and I would suddenly look down and my card case would be empty, you know?
Mhm. I think that's where it's important to understand yourself and understand that you would probably need a team of people around you. So
Yeah.
I need a team of people around me, but my team is my wife watching my son while I go do these shows, or maybe it's my in-laws or my parents doing that. Where at the show itself, I understand that like I can take care of it, but I also made friends for like I said when I do have to use the
Yeah.
bathroom. Like I did put faith in myself to make friends. Like I had to be like, okay, you have to be out there and willing to talk to people because you can't sit there and not pee all day.
Yeah.
Um, but it you definitely could. You just have to understand the team that you'd have to go in with it. And I think that it is a fun experience for anyone. It's not for everyone because not everyone likes to deal with money and not everyone likes to deal with people. Not everyone wants to deal with sales. But if you think you would enjoy it, like I definitely suggest giving it a try at some point.
You
Yeah.
guys should definitely try it. It's so much fun. It's also kind of stressful, especially like doing your first deals, but
Hmm.
it's so rewarding.
I definitely I know that I'm the type of person that like probably a little bit ADHD, but I can do a bunch of different tasks as long as like I mentally am prepared to do it. So like there's
Yeah.
plenty of times where I'm buying from 2 people and selling to 3 people all at the same time. And it's definitely fun and it is stressful and it does make the day go by quick. But if you find that you're into it after the first show or two, it's very worth it. And then if you're not into it after the first show or two, you never got to do it again. And it's all good. It was an
Yeah.
experience. You learned about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
I wish
definitely put some thought into
Yeah.
vending.
I wish there were
I
more
would do it.
shows up around where I am because I would totally do it more.
You should
But
start a
there's
show then.
That would be nuts.
It'd be cool. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what Rebecca did with the Long Island TCG show. She wanted one around us, so she started one. So I think that
Sweet.
you obviously have to check the market around you and the interest level and whatnot. And you always start off
Yeah.
small, like with anything. Like don't put all your chips into one basket. But
Right.
I think that is a fun thing, and I think the hobby's big enough that you'd probably be surprised if you did a smaller show, the turnout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also really cool to see because Rocco from uh his handles like Pokecells, he's like 16, just turned 17, and he's starting his own show in Nashville. And
Jesus.
he had me on his podcast, but I definitely want to get him on here at some point to talk about all the logistics of that.
You definitely should. Yeah,
Hell
it'd be a
yeah.
really cool, like a really cool conversation. I think it's awesome. And I also think it is cool talking to vendors who are super into it, like especially the younger generation. I have a friend who I vended next to, never really vended with, but we did the May Long Island show together.
Mhm.
We were just the two tables next to each other. We bought 3 tables and did a table and a half. And he was like, yeah, I was at a show talking to a kid who like had started with X amount of money and now he's at this amount of money and he's super excited about it. And like, it's really cool to see that, especially like, I feel like we don't get taught in schools how to deal with business stuff and how to deal with money and how to deal with finances.
No.
And any kid who's interested in that at any level, it's just really nice to see them get comfortable with money at least, because money is a tool to help improve your life as long as you use it in the right way. And
Yeah.
being able to learn it at any capacity at any age, I think is awesome. And doing it there would be really cool to hear his experiences.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like
that's a great point.
that's like Rock Sandy right now, and
Yeah.
Bulbasaur. He's
Mhm.
actually quite young. I didn't realize how young Bulbasaur was.
Did you
Yeah,
say he
no,
was-
I love Rock, like doing his binder business and whatnot. At
Yeah.
15, I think he started, or no, he must have been 16 at the time because I think he's 18 now. But
Yeah.
like getting the
Mhm.
concept going and putting the money into it and all that, I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. They're great binders too.
Yeah, they
Yeah, I have
really
like
are.
3 right
The
now.
cartridge. Yeah.
It's so cool to see like the community's support behind it too.
Yeah.
And that's the power of social media. It's just being a
Yeah.
generally and genuinely good person and seeing the people who like quality work because it is quality work. So he's
Yeah.
going to get supported.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I to go back to your point, I do think that like schools should teach personal finance as a course and to teach some of these things about like how to start a business, what it takes to go in there and like,
Yeah.
because we could see some of these kids who are collecting that have probably crazy collections that could start their own table and turn this hobby into a business and like have a lifelong
Yeah.
thing that they do that they really enjoy doing.
No,
Yep.
I definitely agree. And I think that it would be a very nice elective class, especially because like you
Yes.
want people in there that could take it seriously. Obviously, there
Yes.
should be some level of finance taught, but then the business side of it should be an elective in most schools. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I was 28 when I decided to take my finances seriously and start to learn them. So that means I went
Yeah.
28 years of my life just screwing up everything because I never sat down to learn, and no one was ever put in front of me to be like, hey, this is how you actually do financial life. My parents always had food on the table, always had a roof over our head. They were fantastic, but they do not understand money, and like they're scared of credit. They don't really have anything besides a mortgage, and like they get a lot of car loans, and like they're always paying it off, and they do a very good job. They're responsible, but at the same time, like there's definitely ways that they could have been using money better throughout their lives, and they could have been teaching myself and my siblings about that. I'm hoping that by learning this stuff, I can teach it to my son because I don't want to have to rely on the school to maybe make it an elective or maybe start teaching it.
Yeah.
And I think that having it as a tool and learning it to pass on to the next generation is like a really big thing, and it'll help maybe help restore the financial situation that like our country's in right now, because a lot of people
Yeah.
aren't doing as well as they should be doing.
I
Yeah.
agree. I feel
Yeah.
like
I was
our parents well, my parent, you too, right, babe?
Yeah.
Our parents are probably from the same generation because we also did not grow up learning things from school or our parents. And yeah, it's I can see a change coming.
Yeah, and I hope that I like things to be just open and maybe not exactly honest. Like you don't got to tell your kid, "Hey, we're dying right now. Like we're in so much debt. We are dead."
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that having good, honest conversations would help, because when I was growing up,
Yeah.
my dad was a laborer in a union. He had fine, actually like excellent benefits. His benefits were awesome. His pay was like fine, but like a lot of times we were skating by, and
Yeah.
I was not informed of like what that actually meant, or how, like, say we weren't getting the toy that we wanted. I actually think I would have preferred to have heard, hey, we actually have this amount of money to spend. We have to prioritize this stuff. And we're going to get you something when we are able to afford it. Something along those lines. Eventually,
Yeah.
my dad got a better job and was able to afford more, and things started to feel more comfortable. But like, I didn't even really know that. I just kind of experienced it with my parents' like body language. And I think hearing a conversation of, hey, income is a tool. We were at, say, $80,000 at one salary because my mom wasn't working at the time. And he just bumped up to $120,000. That means we're able to afford double the stuff and get ourselves out of, if we're in a hole. I don't think my parents were, but like, we're able to put ourselves in a better situation. And I think that hearing that would be really cool, because then that motivates you when you're older to go search for those higher income jobs. And
Yeah.
maybe you want to do something that you're passionate about, but like, I'm pretty passionate about Pokemon, and I think that the sales are fun. But if I was living off of $2,000 a month, I wouldn't be living. So like,
Yeah.
I think that there's a fine line that you have to walk, and I think that having those conversations helps people navigate that as they get older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was definitely lucky with my high school because I had business classes. So,
Hmm.
and I
Whoa.
took like a financial literacy class, and that was very helpful. But I feel like if there's a way to kind of apply that more rather than just saying like, this is this and this is that, that because I feel like I lost some of that knowledge pretty quick going to college because it's like, oh, I learned that, time to move on to new business classes.
Mhm.
But if there's a way to apply that during like the high school, like I don't know how they would go about that, but I feel like that would also be beneficial.
I feel like they could maybe integrate some basic finance into your actual math class, and then be like, hey, say they start doing that in
Yeah.
8th or ninth grade, and then being like, hey, when you get into 10th grade, they're going to be offering a business class. So if you like this aspect of math, we're only going to take like 3 weeks to learn it. But if you like this aspect, you should go take those classes, and like, kind of push it in that way. I mean, I know it's a lot of an ask, and there's like already so much stress in like the education world, and so little money put towards it through government funding. So it's like, how could you ask someone to do that? But if
Yeah.
it could be done, it would be awesome. So that's just kind of my point of it.
If we all took finance class in high school, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Potentially. I still think I'd be sleeping, but for the most part, I think yes. I might have caught something good.
For sure. Yeah, because if you think about it, like our government just spends money like they could print it.
Yeah, I mean, to learn what a national debt actually is, like, I couldn't
Yeah.
even tell you what it
Yeah.
is now. But like, having a financial literacy class that also taught you that, and then taught you about real life debt, like actually putting it into real life terms, I think it could be a really cool thing.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
funny
it's something that I
because
would want to work. Oh, go ahead, Jen.
well, I kind of see this in the Pokemon community right now. If you think about it, like I see more people buying product, and instead of ripping it because they know they're just burning their money, they're
Yeah.
putting it on the shelves. So I think a lot of us are learning this through Pokemon, right?
Hmm.
Because like you said, a lot of these people, they're going to the store, and instead they're buying the stuff still because it's flying off the shelves and you can't get it. And instead of opening it, they're putting it on their shelves, or they're turning it around and selling it. So kind of Pokemon is teaching us a lesson.
I would say that a lot of financial stuff that I have been picking up recently has just either applied to Pokemon, or Pokemon has taught me. Like, it teaches you supply and demand. Like, there's so
Oh
much
yeah.
demand
Yeah.
right now, and there's such little supply. It teaches you percentages because, like I said, I buy at a lower percentage. So my typical rates are cash are 75%, trade is 80%, and when I go to sell something, I'm typically selling at like 95%. Unless it's like a single card, I usually stay at 100, whatever the market is. But at the same time, it's like I'm working with my calculator all day, where I don't think I'll ever use trigonometry again. And I had to go through an entire year of high school with that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that, and
Trig,
like, same
Cal.
thing with debt. Like, I went into debt for Pokemon when I first started collecting because I didn't understand debt. And now I'm into debt for a good reason. And I understand that my interest rates are better than what they were when I was first going into debt. And there's like so many little things, like there's so many games that you can play if you can do finances right. And I think that I've found some pretty good lessons through Pokemon. And like you said, like, I definitely agree. I think that a lot of people are learning that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really cool. I would
We
love
are.
to learn how to like leverage debt and use the debt as a tool rather than just hearing debt and being like, "Oh, that's scary."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
So
feel it.
a rule of thumb that a lot of people go off of is the S&P 500. If you were to just throw the amount of money that you can put into a Roth IRA and put it into that, you're going to gain anywhere from 8 to 12% a year, an average of 10% of your money. So if you can get a loan that is less than 10%, typically you want less than 8, then it's probably a pretty good loan and you should leverage it to get something that you want as long as you can afford the monthly payments. You also want the monthly payments to be only a percentage of what you make in a year, because you don't want 50% of your pay for the year to be going towards that car that you like. You'd rather be going to your home and your expenses for your house. So there are definitely like rules and stuff with that. And there are some good people on YouTube. I definitely suggest looking at stuff like that. But there are definitely some good lessons to learn out there with that.
Oh, this is so off topic, and I'm sorry about that, but it just popped into my brain. But did you see the new the Mega Halucha?
Bro,
No.
No.
I prayed for times like this.
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't like love Halucha, never have. I don't think he's a bad Pokemon, but I'm very into wrestling, and the fact that he's based off of a luchador to begin with, like that is just what the base of Halucha is. He gets a new mask that looks like a Rey Mysterio mask, and Rey Mysterio is my favorite wrestler of all time. He's in my team immediately. I will do whatever I have to do to get him in the game.
Yeah,
Every time I see Halucha,
This one?
Yeah.
bro, he's got a hammer on him too. Look at that thing between his legs.
I know.
Oh my god.
So-
He's ready.
so-
He's ready to breed some Pokemon.
But every time I see that, I think Nacho. You know what
I
I
saw a
Oh
lot
my
of people
God.
comparing that. Yeah.
I love that movie. Oh my god, such a classic.
It's such a stupid movie. Oh my
A
god.
stretchy pants.
All right, now I need to rewatch that.
I definitely
I
got to
was
watch
just-
that soon. I haven't watched it since I was a kid.
I was just
Yeah,
thinking that same thing.
Yeah. I actually
Jack
do
Black
have
killed
a little off-topic type thing too. So I saw a video today about somebody fixing damaged cards before like trying to send them off to get graded, obviously to get a better grade. And it's like 50-50 in the community, and I want to know what you guys' thoughts are on, is that acceptable to send in, or is that like the bad way to go about it?
I think technically, like if you're caught doing it, you could get like in trouble by the grading company, and definitely
Oh.
it would hurt your um reputation because it's like technically altering the card because
Mm-hmm.
you're. But I mean, like I don't know. If you
I
get it
go-
back to good condition, like that's pretty cool that you're able to do that.
I
But
go
at the
back and
same
forth
time,
on
it's
it
like,
too, because like yeah, I
I
didn't
think
know
it's
you
a
could
tough
get in
line.
trouble.
Yeah, I have heard that you can get in trouble, but I think it's a tough line to walk, because if you're using something that is going to damage the guard to make it better, like if you were like grinding away with a sander to make it
yeah,
like flatter, like
Yeah.
that's not so good. Like that's not really how the card was supposed to come.
Yeah.
So I think that there is a fine line in what you're doing. Like I think if you're just clearing smudges with like a very basic cloth, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
Yeah.
anything past that, like using something that will actually damage the card but make it look cleaner, I think that's
Yeah.
like where it gets a little eh.
So
yeah.
like,
Getting like fingerprints off is. I feel like that's totally fine.
Mm.
But like if you're trying to fix a crease and using like
yeah, I was
A
gonna
a
say
humidifier,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that was he would take the like a magic marker and not mark on it, but he would take the roundness of it and put a napkin over the top of the card, like to like corners that were kind of folded up, and you'd see some of that whitening, and he would push it down.
are
And
you talking
then
about?
yeah.
I have a little. I
I
have a
don't want
little
to say
thing
his
that's
name,
like.
but
I have something
Yeah.
that's like just like a little roll of paper that I haven't used it, but I have it for that purpose. Like if it was given to me for that purpose, I have not used it, but yeah, it's interesting that all the little techniques that there are.
And I feel like
Yeah.
if you're
I've been
folding it over anyway, you're kind of just hiding it and hoping that when the guy takes it out or girl takes it out of the sleeve, that it doesn't refold over itself,
Right.
depending on like how the crease is. So it's like, how much are you actually doing if you're doing that?
And
yeah,
and PSA is looking for that stuff too, because he received a
Oh
card
yeah.
back that he didn't alter. He had, I think he bought it through
alter. That's
Whatnot.
the right word to use. Yeah.
Yeah, he hadn't altered it, but he bought it through Whatnot, and they'd sent him like really good photos of the front and back, and you couldn't tell, but he sent it into PSA through that Whatnot guy, and it shipped back to him. When he got back to him, he had like a paperwork in there from PSA saying, "Hey, you sent us an altered card. We're not grading this. This is like a warning type thing." And then it said it identified the spot where it said like there was uh paint discovered on this location.
Hmm.
Ooh.
He painted
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, they have like
Wow.
I say paint. It's
That
probably
I would
like
definitely say is a big no.
Yeah.
it's probably like marker. It was
Oh.
Yeah.
something to like disguise the discoloring.
Yeah.
I bought a card like that. One of my first purchases was a Red Cheeks Pikachu, and I got it in. I was looking at it. I was like, "What the hell?" Because the pictures of the back looked perfect. I get it in, and there's just blue Sharpie all over the back of it to make I just look better. I
Damn.
did get refunded, and I still have the card. So
Nice.
Nice.
That's one of the things that I think it was AGS. Their machine specifically look for like marker and paint and like all that stuff. Was it AGS?
Tag
Is that
probably
what it-
does too.
Yeah, tag.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm sure both of
I,
those could with just all the inputs they get.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
do you grade a lot?
I don't grade anything myself. The only thing that I've
Oh.
graded was I had a Mewtwo card that I pulled myself. That was the packs were gifted to me like through the channel, through Corey, if you know Corey, like from the Critical Hit podcast. He's gifted some stuff through like to some of the members. So I pulled it and it came back as a PSA 9, but like I graded it through a friend. Like I just had him send it with his submission and I paid him the fee. I don't care to do it because I'm so hypercritical. I'll find like the tiniest bit of off centering, and I know that it's a margin, but like not my margin. I'm like, I'd just rather
Yeah.
sell it raw and not have to hope it gets a 10 when it's probably going to get an 8 or a 7 because the PSA person had spit in their coffee this morning.
Yeah.
So
It
does that come down to because you vend, so it's just faster and easier to sell the card?
So yes, like I said, I like to like I'm thinking flip all the time. I'm thinking what
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
fastest way of returning my money? Not necessarily how do I get the biggest profit margin, especially because PSA turnaround times are like 3 to 4 months.
It's so bad right now.
Yeah,
It
so
is.
I think that I will do it in the future when I feel more comfortable of not needing money right away. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
that like I need money so like I'm being greedy about stuff. It's like I churn at the rate that I need to pay myself out and get new cards. And I don't
Yeah.
really have much more money past that to be waiting on cards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I've
fair.
noticed that at card shops recently because, like, usually card shops, they'll have a bunch of singles on the wall or whatever. And I've always been curious. I guess I never put thought into it as to why they don't just send off stuff to get graded. But then I've realized over time it's just because you get it out so you can get more back in because you're running a store. You gotta make that
I've
money.
also
Yeah.
I know that my LCS that's near me that I go to all the time. It's called Gotham City. They're awesome.
That's cool.
They don't grade themselves because at least when I first met them, and I think it still holds true, they don't sell graded cards as fast as they sell singles, especially because people come to play. So like
Oh,
you may
yeah.
get the one-off person that wants the full art like end card because they just
Yeah.
want to bling out their deck, not because they want to grade it for the best value. The market shifted now, so they probably could get away with it, but I think long term,
Yeah.
they just know that like if they do send a card off and in 3 months it comes back and the market isn't as hot as it was, they're going to be sitting on it, and why bother?
Yeah.
totally get that. I'm a huge fan of
Well-
blinging out my deck.
I get that.
Well-
I do it with some cards, but not like super expensive stuff. But like when trainer galleries were coming out, I typically like use the trainer gallery version of the cards.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting to the end here, so I gotta ask if you could create any set possible, any gimmick, any Pokemon, what is your dream set looking like?
I think it would be a Ash's team set. and
Ooh.
it would be
Oh,
all their gimmicks
interesting.
as well. So like Lucario could go Mega. I don't think Charizard went Mega for him, but whatever their gimmicks were, they would have in card form, and it would be Ash's Pikachu, Ash's Charizard, Ash's Greninja, and all of that. I think that would be a really cool way to do it,
That'd be
especially because
sweet.
Noctowl is one of my favorite Pokemon, and so is Charizard. So I would get both the Shining Noctowl and a Charizard card out of it.
Nice. That's
I
awesome. I
love
like
that.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because a
that's
lot of times we get red, right? It's
Mhm.
Red's Pikachu, but you don't get Ash in there, and
You're
he's
No,
mad
I-
the
about
guy
that
we've
Ash,
watched.
babe.
The only one that I could think of is Ash's Greninja, the promo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't even think he's featured in it. I think it's just Greninja.
No. Yeah, it's just
So like I
Greninja.
think him being featured in full arts, like say they do a trainer gallery-esque something, or if they keep it as SIRs, if they did it in a set now, I think that would be a really cool way to do it.
That'd be really cool. Like you get the full art SAR and it's just like the whole team behind him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you can even make a trainer card like that. Yeah, like Ash's something, like Ash's charisma or something like that. And you just have like certain Pokemon that have a certain charisma, and then you have like Ash's love or something, or Ash's mom's love. And it
Ash's
has like
Riz.
Chansey in the background or something. And Mr. Mime, which is
Yeah. But you know what? The 30th anniversary is coming up. Maybe they'll listen to this and take you up on that.
Yeah.
that would
Pokemon
actually be
take
really cool
notes.
for a 30th anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting on the phone with Pokemon after this. I know they'll take my call right now.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Personally.
Oh, there's the first John Freeze of the episode.
Nice.
It's always at the funniest faces too.
Did you see it, babe? Could you see it?
I did not.
Was it, oh.
It's gonna
You
be a
guys
great
froze
watch
on my
back.
screen.
Oh.
Yeah, between
hope
the
we did look
static
funny.
and the. Oh, you guys did. I had a great laugh.
All right, man. Well, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on YouTube, Starman DX, no spaces. That's how I always tell people to find it. On Instagram, Starman DX underscore. On Twitter or X, Starman underscore DX underscore. And you can find me at shows on Long Island, kind of New York area, and meet me in person because I really like meeting people in the community. That was like the biggest thing about getting into like reselling is that I didn't really care about the reselling aspect. I cared about staying in the community, staying in content, being able to meet people, help people complete their collection goals, and then eventually when I can get back into collecting more, then I could be in the same boat. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
thank
Yeah,
you.
man.
No, thank you for having me. I do really appreciate it. It was really nice talking to all of you.
Yeah, it was great
Yeah.
catching up.
Yeah, it was.
Elliot, say something weird.
I want to touch John's little squirrel mustache.